Welcome back to GTO Extra. Today we're going through Chelsea's strongest 11. Last week we looked at Arsenal. Today we're looking at Chelsea, and they started the season in great fashion, beating Everton 1-0. And we are joined today by a Chelsea expert. He goes by the name of Liam. We've had a few appearances already on GTO Extra, and he's back again today.
Hello everyone, thanks for having me back, JG. Yeah, good to be back. Obviously we went through the transfers, the 20-1 Premier League table. And we're here to talk about something closer to my heart today, which is the Chelsea 11. There's been lots of ins and outs this summer. Obviously Raheem Sterling being the big one, and then some outs. Timo Werner's just left the club. So it's going to be a different lineup, albeit some similarities to last year. I know you mentioned the Everton result, saying it was a decent start to the season. It was results-wise, but the performance, it lacked a little bit for me. But I think it's going to be interesting to go through today. I do have a few different ideas of my own that maybe some people won't agree with. But yeah, I can't wait.
Well, just going back to that transfer video we did, speaking about the sort of the ins and outs at Chelsea, the big one, like you said, Raheem Sterling. There was a guy, a centre-back, goes by the name Koulibaly, you wasn't a fan of in that video. His first performance in a Chelsea shirt in the Premier League, he was brilliant. So do you want to maybe rescind that opinion already? Or is it too early to say?
I mean, it's too early to say, JG. I mean, you look at Thiago Silva. Okay, so I look at the complete flip side. When Thiago Silva was first signed, experience, he had the worst performance ever. Then ended up being one of our greatest centre-backs we've had in the last 10 years. So you can't read too much into a result against Everton. He did look very cool, composed, very strong defensively, but I think we'll have to see over the season. I mean, look, I'm not for 1 minute saying I want him to flop. I don't know how much he can translate that Italian experience into the Premier League. But look, let's see. If he does come up trumps and be the best centre-back in the league, then I'm here for it, mate.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, you just want Chelsea to win, so I can understand why you have that view. We have 20 days left, or 20 or so days, until the transfer window does shut. So there may be some more players coming in, a few maybe going out as well. But right now, as we stand, I want to go through the strongest starting 11 for Chelsea. Boom. So here we are. I've gone with a 3-4-3 formation. But if you want to change it, let me know now. I feel the reason I went with this is because Chelsea, over the last few years, sort of ever since really Conte come in, they've always had you can say the 3 at the back or the 5 at the back, whatever way you want to look at it. And I feel that is just the strongest way of playing. Tuchel likes it as well. Is that how they're going to set up this season? And is it the strongest way of setting up? Because this is not a case of, I don't want you to be telling me how Tuchel's going to line up. I want to know what you think the strongest 11 is.
It's a very good question, and I do have my own ideas about this, and I'm not for 1 minute saying I know more than Tuchel, but I would like to change this formation, JG.
Okay.
Is there a way we could move to more of a 3-5-2 formation? So I want no wingers, I want 2 strikers, and then a midfielder sitting in behind the 2 strikers.
I'm sure I can do that for you, mate. Tell me what you think of this. Just a quick little plug around. Something like that?
Yeah, can we just have the 11 a little bit more central?
Yeah,
there we go.
Sorry about that.
and then what I want is one of the strikers sitting ever so slightly off the other one. Yeah, that would do.
So, a bit deeper, maybe?
Yeah, a little bit deeper, and we'll get onto that later on. Look, this is a way Chelsea have lined up a couple of times in the past, not often, to be honest. But I'm just looking at our availability of wingers, and we'll get on to that. I feel that this could be the way to set up. And just one more amendment, JG. If we could just push those wing backs or left and right midfielders ever so slightly forward, just a little bit. There we go. There we go.
Parallel? I think so.
Yeah, I like that.
Forget the numbers as well. The numbers are irrelevant.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going with a 3-5-2 formation, essentially.
Maybe I can just drop these in a tad as well.
Yeah,
there we go.
Maybe.
So this is the formation. Let's start like we always do with the goalkeeper. What options do we have there? We know Mendy started a lot of last year.
Yeah.
Who is it? Kepa Arabazalaga. I can't even say the name. Kepa Arabazalaga.
Yeah, obviously we've got Edouard Mendy. He was the number one last season, the season prior. We've got Kepa Arrizabalaga, the 80 million pound signing, of course. He could be on his way out though to, I believe, Sevilla he's linked with. So we'll see how that one progresses. I believe even Monaco might be
The one thing,
linked there.
if he is to go out, you'd think Chelsea will bring another replacement in. Would it be they're looking for a second goalkeeper to bring in, or are they getting sort of a real solid contender to be pushing Mendy, and you may be considering putting them in your starting 11?
I don't think so, because I think we've got money. We need to spend money elsewhere before the transfer window closes. And by the way, the third choice is Marcus Bettinelli. He doesn't get too many minutes. I'm not even sure if he has an appearance yet. I think he has a couple. But we'll probably get someone in with a little bit of Premier League experience. I think it's going to be Mendy, the number one, and I'm going to go with that. Look, he did have a bit of a ropey season last season, but he's still out and out the number one. And I think that he should remain in that position.
Right, the left centre back here.
Left centre back. So this is a difficult one because Koulibaly has switched from left to right throughout his career, but I am going to put him there. I'm going to go with Kalidou Koulibaly. I don't think you spend that amount of money on a centre back, although it wasn't too much, and not play him. And I think he will be one of the starters for sure.
Centrally?
For me, it's going to have to be Thiago Silva. Yeah. Experience, leadership. He's still got so much to give in terms of how he plays on and off the ball.
I believe he's actually the number 4 as well, isn't he, for Chelsea? Is that right?
I believe he is. Yeah. I believe he is. Let me check. No, he's the number 6, actually.
Oh, number 6.
It's number 6. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. And they're probably completing that back 3. Although there were many rumours he was going to leave the club and go to Barcelona, I think unless Chelsea make another centre-back signing, of course, we're linked with Fofana before the season ends. Yep. I am going to go with Azpilicueta in that right centre-back position.
Yeah, that surprised me a little bit.
Really?
Yep. I mean, I'm trying to work out who else could play there. Christensen, as far as I'm aware, he's gone. Is that correct?
Yeah.
You've got the other young British guy,
Trevor Chalobah.
Yeah,
I mean, look, I think Azpilicueta will be someone that drops in and out, to be honest, with Trevor Chalobah, and I really like Chalobah as a player. But I'm looking at the leadership qualities here. I think Azpilicueta still to this day gets underrated, even by Chelsea fans.
But does it not bother you the fact that he kind of wanted to leave, or you don't think he did, and it was just?
No, I think he did. I think there was an agreement between him and the previous ownership and board structure. And then I think fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, depending on what way Chelsea fans look at this, I think that he kind of reversed his decision. We persuaded him to say, look, I think he will drop in and out with Trevor Chalobah. Maybe, we might have Reece James playing right centre back from time to time. But I really like Azpilicueta. I always have. I think he's still got quite a bit to give, and I think he works well in that experience back three. What about you?
Malang Sarr.
Sarr, I believe, is on his way to Monaco.
Okay.
Unless I'm mistaken, and to be honest, he's a disaster.
Okay. I mean, listen, the way I look at it is, if you do get Fofana, he walks into this back three.
Yeah, so I think that's an interesting one, because maybe if Fofana comes in, I might have him sitting on the left-hand side. Maybe Koulibaly goes to that right-hand side. But ultimately, I think they'll kind of find their way in that formation throughout the season. But I still think Azpi, in terms of that experience, I believe he should be starting a lot of games this year. So
right, let's go to, the left mid, the left wing back, whatever way you want to look at it. What playing on the left-hand side? Is it going to be Ben Chilwell?
Well, so I've been thinking about this, and I'm thinking
because this is a big position where there's a few options, and I'm not sure which way you're going to play it.
So I'm looking at the season as a whole. We've got lots of games in the Champions League, and I'm looking at who's going to be the most reliable throughout an entire season in terms of my strongest 11, because that comes into it. I can't just put someone like Ziyech in there, who seems to be injured half the time, or a Well, I won't give away any spoilers, but for that reason, and I know he is just coming back from injury, so maybe this is a little bit of recency bias against Ben Chilwell, but I am going to have Cucurella in the left wing back position.
Ooh.
Oh.
Wait a sec. Pause, because I don't know how to spell him.
It's Cucu Rella. Cucurella.
Cucurella. Okay, got it. Right. So I'll put Cucurella on. How much did you spend on him?
I believe with add-ons, it's around 60 million quid.
Right.
60 million quid. Look, for me,
he's a good player, though. Good player.
Yeah.
Really good at Brighton. I think he won Player of the Year. We spoke about him in our transfer video as well. Go check that out if you haven't watched it. And I think it's a really good signing. He come on in the first game against Everton. I'm not sure how many minutes he played. Was it like for half an hour or something?
I believe it was only about, including stoppage time, about 25 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
25, 30. I mean, I wasn't off a lot.
No, there were 10 minutes stoppage time.
Okay, fair enough. I know what you mean. Yeah. And I was impressed with his little cameo he made. There was a few good passes under pressure. I see a few highlight reels of his performance, and he's going to be a big player for you because he's got a lot of heart, and he's someone who, he's going to give his all for the cause. I feel a bit sorry for Chilwell, though, and I'm not sure where this leaves him because he's a real hope. Is he the best English left back? I mean, does he start for England?
I mean, with Luke Shaw out.
Luke Shaw, the way he's been playing, I feel it's very unfortunate. And he may be looking for a way out. If he's not getting enough minutes, I can't see him staying beyond this season.
I mean, look, it's difficult to say at the moment because I think they're two top quality left backs, i.e. Cucurella and Chilwell. But I just want to give a little bit of a tactical reason for this as well, because as you can see with my formation, I haven't got any sort of natural attacking wingers. So for me, if I look at the attacking side of the game, and Chilwell is good at going forward, don't get me wrong, he scored a lot of goals for Chelsea, but I feel like Cucurella's got that flair to go forward. We saw it against Everton, some of the crosses he was putting in. I feel like if I'm going with this formation, a lack of wingers, you've got to have Cucurella in there. That's my opinion. You've got to have that flair coming from somewhere.
Right, let's move into the middle now. The number 7 and 8 here we've got.
Yeah.
Who's playing in central midfield for you?
So the number 7's there. So I'm going with our number 7, the little man, the French man, N'Golo Kante.
Yeah, no arguments. He's just got to be there.
I mean, JG.
One thing though, quickly, his level has dropped off a little bit post him winning the World Cup.
Yeah,
he's not the same player as sort of when they won the title for Leicester. Kante, he was a seriously good player. Then when he went to Chelsea, he was a very good player. After the World Cup, I feel like he's a bit of a different player to what he was. Still very effective at what he does, and there's not many in one football who's better than him. But he's just not quite the same. And that's just someone who doesn't watch Chelsea every week like yourself, so like you do. So maybe you have a different opinion on me. But from the outset, I look at him and he doesn't seem the same level of what he was, say, a few years back.
I disagree to an extent because I look at the Champions League campaign for Chelsea. And I think in the semi-finals and the final, I think he got man of the match in all of those ties. So not to sort of go.
No, that's a good point.
But what I do see is he's a different sort of player.
Maybe he's just changed his style a little bit.
No, he definitely has. He's definitely a different kind of player. He used to be that destroyer in the midfield, tackles, interceptions. He's definitely more box to box, and I think he has less of a significant role in the team in terms of, I mean, Chelsea in 2016-17, 2017-18, I would have said you take Kante out the team falls apart completely. Now I do think he's droppable to an extent, but if he's at his peak, and I hope he can be this season, that we definitely need him in there. He's definitely dropped off a bit, but I mean, he's still, our midfield's a little bit light, so yeah. And I love him.
Moving through some of the next position next to him, I'm just going to tell you some options. We've got Jorginho there. We've got Kovacic, maybe a Loftus-Cheek, a Conor Gallagher.
Well, it's funny you should say that because
Billy Gilmore,
I don't think so. He'll probably go out on loan. But look, there's got to be a biting point, JG. Jorginho's getting a bit older. Kovacic, I love him, by the way. I love Kovacic, but I have some concerns over his injuries, and I know that's a bit hypocritical, but I'll put Kante in there. But I want to find a reason to breed in some new blood into this team. And after last season at Crystal Palace, I don't think you can ignore this man.
Ooh,
I
so he
don't think
makes.
you
Are you
can.
serious? You're going to drop
I'm
Jorginho?
I'm 100% serious. If this was me, if I was choosing my team, I'd have Conor Gallagher in there. How can you
He wasn't
look?
impressive in pre-season, was he? And do you not think he's
But
playing
no
too
one
much of a
was.
deep lying midfield position if he was to
Well,
play here?
I'll get on to that number 11
I like
position.
him attacking for Crystal Palace. He was very good
Yeah.
going forward. I don't think he's going to have much opportunity to go forward playing in this system.
Well, I'll get onto that in a bit because whoever's sat in this number 11 role, I see them interchanging a little bit. So we'll get onto that. I think obviously with Kante alongside you, you do have a little bit more freedom to sort of get forward.
It's insane. So you're going
So
with a Conor Gallagher there.
yeah, I mean, look, some people will say I'm playing career mode. For
Well,
me,
let us know in the comments, guys, if you agree. I would go Jorginho. Liam would go Conor Gallagher. This is where we differ so far. I think the left back position as well. I can't. No, well, it's not really left back, but the left winger position. You've got Cucurella. It's a hard one. I think it's going to be difficult. Maybe did you even need him with Chilwell? You've got Emerson as well. We sort of skimmed past.
yeah,
Who's not
Emerson's a
bad.
good, decent player, but he's not in the same bracket as
No,
it.
I think he would always be third, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out as well.
Yeah,
But let's move on from that. So, because we're going to be speaking for far too long, let's go to. For some reason, we've got a number 6 on the right wing here, but
yeah.
don't ignore the numbers. Who's filling this position?
I mean, it's easy. It's Reece James. I don't think we've even got a backup right back. Obviously, we've got Azpilicueta in there, but he tends to sort of operate in the centre back position more often than not. Reece James, he's got fantastic crossing ability, defensively really good. For me, the best right back in the England setup. I don't know whether you'd agree with that. Carl Walker, of course, but he tends to go into a back three, back five at times in the centre back role. Reece James, I love him. He's one of my favourite Chelsea players, if not the favourite. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's not. I'm looking through here. There's not many other options, is there?
No.
I feel it is him, and not just that. He is very good and one of your better players for sure. So I think he's got that position now down, and I think everyone's going to agree.
Yeah.
Moving on to one of the most important positions, sort of the cog of the team here. You said
Yeah.
the number 11. Which
Yeah.
one? Who's this one then?
Mason Mount.
Mason
Mason
Mount.
Mount. Don't know why my voice went there. I just get so emotional thinking about him. But yeah, for
He's
me,
the one linking it all
yeah,
together, is he?
yeah, he's the one linking it all together. For me, he's a talisman of the team. I know there's a lot of things said on Twitter or otherwise about whether he's actually good or not, or whether he's just one of those.
I think he is very good,
Yeah,
but
same.
you can't question the fact that his levels dropped as well the last few years. Sort of the last
Mm,
year, post England at the Euros, he was terrible for England.
I think. I
He
think.
wasn't good for England.
I'll
Let's
be
be
honest. I
honest.
think
He was non-existent in an England shirt. Wasn't good at all. He then followed it afterwards, coming to Chelsea. Looked very tired and fatigued. Maybe too much football the last few years, and I think he struggled recently. Obviously, we've only had one game this season, so I've not been able to judge too much from Everton. But let's see how the season progresses. But I could be on here in about 10 games' time calling him out and saying he needs to be dropped because
nah, mate.
his performances need to get back to where he can play at because he's not been at the levels.
I
He's set a
disagree.
very high bar, though.
He was Chelsea's player of the season last season. I think he was double figures goals and assists. I see how you would analyze it like that from the outside looking in, but I know that most Chelsea fans that watch the team week in, week out know how important Mason Mount is to us as a team. Whether or not his levels are dropped, I'm not so sure, but he's always operating at level which is better than most of the players on the Chelsea team, regardless of what he's doing for England, etc. For sure, he has more left to give. And just to go on my point about the number 11, number and 8 on our screen, I see this as a point in Mason Mount's career where I want to see him playing central now. He's played a lot on the left wing under Tuchel, a little bit under Frank Lampard as well. I think in order for him to really hit the heights and become a true leader in the team, a true midfielder and do really good for England, he needs to be operating centrally now. And that's why I see maybe even we could switch this the other way around and you have Conor Gallagher sitting in behind the two strikers and Mason Mount sitting alongside Kante. His skill set for me is that of someone that should be in the midfield.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I agree with that. I think he's
yeah,
an underrated skill he does have is picking a pass. So fitting in that Conor Gallagher role, he could pick a pass from deep and be quite effective. A bit like what if Fabregas was able
yeah.
to do. Very different players, but um, Mason Mount is a good player. I would have him starting, but I feel he needs to improve his performances and reach his potential again. But you say he's already there at the moment. I'm not so sure, but let us know in the comments section. Let's move to the attacking players. No Romelu Lukaku. He had enough of Chelsea. Just couldn't handle it anymore. Terrible signing, by the way. Probably one of the worst in, I don't know, is it one of the worst signings ever in the Premier League? I think it's
I
got to
mean,
be up there.
definitely, definitely. You look at it in terms of how long before it all went downhill. It was about
Yeah,
3-4 months before he did
yeah.
that interview.
It's terrible.
I mean, for me, it's unforgivable. It really gets on my nerves when I see people on Twitter going, "Well, the Chelsea fans didn't really treat him with much respect." Why am I going to treat someone with respect? It's gone to. Imagine if this was someone at your club, you
I mean,
sign him for
it is
a
shocking.
100 million quid, 100 million quid, regardless what he thinks about Tuchel's tactics, whatever, and he comes out and says, "Oh, I want to go back to the club that I just signed." It just, oh, less said about it, the better. But he's not here anymore.
No.
So let's talk about who my striker for this season is going to be. Obviously, this is regardless of any transfers. We're linked with Aubameyang, Memphis Depay as well. And on that left-hand side of position, the number 10, I'm going with Kai Havertz.
Okay, so Havertz is the furthest forward.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, I'm someone that actually really likes Kai Havertz. I think as a Chelsea striker, he works pretty well because he's not someone that's going to get goals all the time in terms of Chelsea seem to just never really operate with a striker that scores loads of goals. So instead of having someone like Lukaku up there that doesn't have any link up play and just kind of causes more problems than fixes than solutions,
Yeah.
why not have someone like Havertz there that already has a pre-existing chemistry and rapport with players like Mount, James, etc. He's got a good header as well. I quite like him. And then on that left-hand side, it works quite well because he's left-footed. So yeah, I really like him. I like his link-up play. He's young as well. We signed him for 80 million. Don't forget. So we need to get something out of him.
Big question for you: is he clinical enough in front of goal? I saw a compilation the other day. This is why I ask. And last season, the amount of chances he missed.
Yeah.
I mean, I got nicknamed in my local football team Kai Havertz because I was missing the same amount as him. Is that someone you want far forward? Is that like the striker you want in your team who's going to be missing so many key opportunities? Is he clinical enough in front of goal?
I think if he was our only goal scorer, I'd say, yeah, that's a problem. But when we move on to the final position in this team, I think that's what fixes this solution. Because for me, I haven't got him in this team for goals per se.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd expect him to get, say, 15 across all competitions in a season. But my next player is the goal scorer in this team.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that Havertz will have that option. Say if he is through on goal, he's always got this little man running behind ready to score a goal. That's how I see it going.
Does he run like this? Any chance?
Yeah, he's a bit of a dinosaur. I mean, I can't really say that now. He's a Chelsea player, but yeah. I mean, you're typing it out already. Raheem Sterling, big money signing. He's got to be in there.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think it's quite exciting, really, seeing Sterling link up in that type of team. I think him and James are going to have a good relationship as well, both playing in the England setup. Sure, they're pretty good friends as well, from what I've seen in some of the interviews.
Yep.
And it could be a really dangerous combination down that right-hand side. Kai Havertz, like you said, he does have very good link-up play and his positioning is great. So that's only going to help bring someone like a Sterling into play a little bit more. And on the whole, I'd have to say, I think you've done a good job of that. I think you've got a really good, solid team there. And maybe, I know we both said that Chelsea are going to have a struggle this year, and we predicted them to 6th.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe, especially if they get Fofana in as well, then I think we may have been wrong about that.
I feel like I've sold you on the Havertz Sterling link.
You have a
You're
little
thinking
bit.
about
No,
it
you
now,
have.
aren't you?
I think I do quite like the look of the team. The one thing I do disagree on is Jorginho. I do think he's such a good ball player, mate. He's so important. And right now, I would have him in ahead of Gallagher. Apart from that, I'd have to say I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm thinking a little bit long term
Yeah.
in that, because for me, if Gallagher doesn't play this season, he's going to leave. And for me, Jorginho, there's been rumours that he might even go this summer anyway. So I'm looking at it from the perspective of Jorginho, whilst he's good on the ball, do I want Conor Gallagher coming in? And maybe he'll sit in that uh, more advanced role, maybe not. But look, people will be very strongly in disagreement of me over this. So let's see what they
Well, let's
say.
find out. If you are watching us right now, leave us a comment in the comment section. We want to know, do you agree with this Chelsea strongest 11? If you are new to the channel, hit the like button, subscribe, and we will be bringing some more content very soon. Go check out the Liquidator podcast if you want to see more of Liam's expert analysis. And the only thing left to say, Liam, is if you had a good time on GT Extra?
Yeah, it's really fun, mate. It's really fun. I like the little graphics on screen, nice little neon bar as well. Don't know where you got that from, but artistically, clearly talented. So yeah, thanks for having me on, and hopefully again soon.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.